So, acolytes. How Gen Z reversed Christianity's decline. Now, I myself, acolytes, am, as you might imagine, a unbeliever. Yeah, shock Pikachu face. Insert here. Probably gonna do it anyway. Irrelevant. Good. Before I get distracted again. Now, as it is, this is actually a quite interesting thematic to me, because the entire, feminism thing, stuff like that. The thing is, religion is, well, I don't agree with them to a high degree, but at the end of the day, it was better than what we have right now. So to a certain degree, I understand the growth backwards. And I'm gonna be honest, after all the mistakes everybody did, I really hope that we gonna get a better understanding between each other and not just deal in pauschalen and just understand that, well, love between people is freaking important, and not just bash each other for no reason, go in and make up lies as it was in the past. But I think, read Matt Zoomer, first time I'm actually having a video from him or reacting to it. Let's see what he thinks about it, won't we?
It seemed like the end of Christianity. Gen Z was the most atheist, lonely, depressed, and hedonistic generation in human history. But these past couple of years, something has changed. Gen Z has reversed the decline of Christianity. For the first time ever, children are more religious than their parents, and there's more interest in traditional Christianity than ever before. How did this happen?
Yeah, that's true, by the way, and feminism gives you shit. Simple as that. It gives you no options, no freaking thing. You are basically dead meat to them. You are nothing. You are not an individual. You are just either you're a hive mind or you're done. So you just don't get any options. So yeah, I understand why the growth went this way. At least for me, that's logical.
Gen Z was the first generation to be raised in a secular, post-Christian environment. They were the guinea pigs for the experiment of secularism, so they got to see the effects of secularism firsthand. So here's...
What the fuck are you talking about? What is secularism? Sorry, acolytes, I just have to look this one up. Secularism... Secularism price of identity and from political ones. True regards of the religious benefit lack of them for invasive medicine. So, secularism is basically the departure of religious beliefs and treating everyone equally. No matter what. Okay. It got definitively perverted, let's just say it like that. Of course, benefit of the doubt. It definitively got perverted over the years. But was it? But the thing is, it doesn't even hit here, because per definition, basically, because the entire leftist thing isn't because of religion, it's because of, well, basically your genitals. Your genitals and your skin color, so it's pure racism. So I don't know why he gets secularism into this, but okay, fair enough.
This is what it was like growing up Gen Z.
So I disagree with him on that.
Welcome to school. Hope you're excited to sit still and do mindless work for 8 hours every day. Not really. That sounds like a mental disorder. These pills should help. Okay, so how do I get good grades? By learning and being creative? No. School is designed for 20 highlighter girls who are neat and organized and submit meaningless homework on time, not for guys like you with energy and motivation. Now here's why you should hate your country, race, sex, and religion. Okay, now I'm gonna...
I agree with him. Yes.
Gonna try to get a girlfriend. Girlfriend? These days people just do casual hookups and situationships, and we're only interested in like 10% of guys, which does not include you. And you're happy about all this? Oh no, I'm dying inside, but I can't act otherwise due to social pressure. If
Yep.
you don't get your grades up, you're gonna fail. What about the kids who never go to class or do homework but graduate anyway? Our school isn't allowed to fail those kids due to PR. Well, I have no motivation to work either. What's the point of all this? Hey now, if you get all A's and get into a good college, you might even afford a tiny apartment someday. Well, that's depressing.
That's one of those freaking worst things. You literally don't have bigger goals to work towards, because the only goal that actually the freaking these days it just, as a young man, by the way, it's not even that you can work for bigger goals, but you're just basically a money ATM for others. It's freaking bullshit.
You're depressed? Seems like you need therapy. No, I just want to know what I'm even working for in life. Sounds like a chemical imbalance. These pills will make you numb to it all. This was a pretty
And by the way, I just want to point out that this entire thing, especially the first one, where they talked about creativity, stomping creativity, this was also a mistake that Christianity did for a very long time. So while he is crying about this right now and he points this out, yes, he is correct about it, but this also applies to Christianity. And this is one of the mistakes I want to point out and say, don't repeat this. This is exactly how you, yes, Christianity or Catholics, or even other people or other religions taught the generation to actually behave. So don't throw stones in a glass house. Because this is the same mistake you did. The rest, I agree with.
normal experience for Gen Z men. They grew up lost, hopeless, lonely, and with no meaning in their lives. They also grew up surrounded by wokeness, which celebrated many groups of people,
Correct.
but said that men were the oppressor group and needed to take a back
I
seat
agree.
in society. The only voices speaking against the status quo were Christians and the cultural right, which have always had an uneasy on and off alliance with each other.
No, that's not entirely true. There were... The thing is, people always take the extremes. Now, what do I mean with this? Yes, Christianity and the right was against it. Not the entire time. Because if I can find it, acolytes, I'm gonna show you something interesting. Yes, sadly I didn't find the specific thing I was looking for, because there are some churches. But you can see in this articles, woke the church, 5 signs your church is going woke. Yes, even churches in Christianity went woke, because it benefited them. After they seen that the pendulum swings, they of course dropped it and went normal. So, what I want to say with this is bullshit. The church is an organization that actually does what they need to survive. Happily for us, right now it's going anti-woke. And I am happy about that. I have gladly people on my side that actually want to preserve reason. That's not the problem. I don't care about the religious part. That's not the problem. The problem is, do not forget your past. How many times you actually fucked up and argue the correct way. And don't lie about this, because this is already starting to feel like the fucking apologies I had to deal with when I was younger. Just behaving like politicians and just sliding in a little lie, one by one. Because this just isn't true. There are a lot of people in the middle that don't belong to a group, that fought against this bullshit. Don't take the fucking entire credit for those two groups. It's just not fair. It's just not true.
There's a lot of
If this was true, I wouldn't have anything against it. But it's not true. It's... And by the way, one of the biggest voices? Esmengold. And he's in the middle. You might not like it, but it is what it is.
Overlap between them because they often support the same things, but for different reasons. While not all Christians are on the right, and not everyone on the right is Christian, the right was an important stepping stone for many young men coming to Christianity. If we're gonna be honest, most young men didn't go from weed-smoking atheists to Bible-believing Christians overnight. For most of them, the first step in deconstructing leftism was honestly looking at internet memes that mock wokeness, so they could see how silly all of it was and eventually realize the emptiness of secular society. For many young men, the first step away from leftism is skepticism of the whole LGBTQ movement, which causes them to get canceled.
The thing is, you're calling this secular society. What the fuck is wrong with you? Yes, it has those elements, but it's not a secular society. The main thing that's actually missing here is that nobody calls it like that except for you right now. Maybe I'm missing something. And secularity has nothing to do with actually... No, the definition was replacing it with politics. You know what? It's okay. We just have to ditch the word secular society because it got tainted by leftists and it just won't regenerate. That's fine. I think that's fine.
Which further radicalizes them. Since leftism is a rival religion to Christianity, it's often necessary to lose faith in leftism before you can begin to consider Christianity. Not only did Gen Z lose faith in leftism, they lost faith in modern society generally.
Yes, and I understand that, by the way. This is a natural... I hoped it happens way earlier, but, well, it happens now, so I take it. And the thing is, yeah, I wouldn't even say it specifically because you're saying that young people actually went to directly to Christianity. I don't agree with that. First of all, there are other religions except for Christianity. Second of all, some went right. So, definitively not all. So, this arguing is already dishonest. A lot of them went right, by the way. So, this is just secular. And being an atheist is basically just not believing in any deity. That's all. That doesn't automatically mean you're an asshole. It's just painting... It's just... It's starting again with the fucked up painting of non-religious people as bad people. And the thing is, didn't we just learn how that fucking ends? Like with leftism? Don't you fucking know? Don't you see the mistakes they did and you're repeating the same thing? Why are you so fucking biting into this effed up thinking of let's exclude a group just because they disagree with me on something? That's the exact same thing. And right now, people may not realize it, but down the road, people will. And it's gonna backfire on you. As it did years ago. Because let's not forget, pedo priests. Yeah, one of the biggest things were religion. So, and I mean also a church where the freaking penguins, yeah, I call them penguins, nuns and their pimps, priests, effed. They gave birth to those children and then buried them alive. Yes, a lot of corpses were found. So don't give me this here one good side. No, we just have fucked up people. And maybe don't demonize one side with your fucking... with a religion that has such a dark past.
Because previous generations were living off of the benefits of Christian society, they were able to have more faith in the material things of this world. But since society for Gen Z looked more bleak, they had to turn to spiritual things for meaning in life.
The thing is, the spiritual things, I agree with him. Spiritual things, yes, you actually need those. No matter if you're atheist or not. If you're religious or not. If you believe in a deity or not, that's irrelevant. You need spiritual things. And why are you taking the entire thing with Christian society and stuff like that? Those were human beings that did very good. People who most likely, most of them, I guarantee you, didn't give a single fuck about their religion. They wanted their kids to have it better than they did. This was the thinking that actually made the entire societal structure that we have right now the thing that it is right now. It was something beautiful. But right now we're going again and making the same fucking mistake where a group like leftists tries to take over the good things and say, nope, that's what we did, this is our thing, we're the only ones that did this, and I'm just sick of this arguing already. It's just effing preachers all over again.
This can loosely be applied to the generations. Previous generations were able to take a successful society for granted and saw less of a need to turn to God, but that made them weaker and less religious, which made society worse, which is making Gen Z turn to God. This also applies to countries. It's a common pattern that after centuries of Christianity, especially Protestant Christianity, countries will become insanely successful, but then due to their success, they'll forget about God.
And again, fucking dissing. You know what? Give me a second here. So, it didn't take me long to find this gem. This, my friends, is a politically correct Christian. Redeemer Zoomer is one of the normal people, or normal Christian. I'm gonna link this video afterwards to you. And what I wanna say with this is, this Good Times Great atheist man is a fucking lie, because Christianity also created people like this, and it's on his channel. He has the proof against the thing that he just argued. So thank you for being a freaking smartass and trying to be fucked up in the head and just manipulating people instead of giving them the correct information so they can decide for themselves. Good job. Demonize unbelievers so we can start this fucking religion, this war against fucking religion again. And you know what? You will lose again. You know why? Because your beliefs don't make fucking sense. And you're demonizing, you're doing the exact same thing as leftists do. Honestly, fucking... lying sack of... Well, he's probably a preacher. I still have to look it in. It's just...
This is also the pattern we see in the Book of Judges many times over. The things that people often get meaning from, like money, romance, achievements, friendship, and self-image, are not necessarily bad things, but when they become ultimate things, meaning things that you can't have meaning without, then they become idols, which means false gods. Now sometimes when people lose all of these things and can't get any meaning from them, they turn to Christianity because that's something that can never go away. The reason...
No, bullshit, Christianity can disappear like every other religion, and yes, this is just a normal circle of life. If you get overtaken by your greed, as he just said, I agree with him, by the way, then yes, your life will be meaningless. Or you fall into a deep depression. But religion isn't the only solution. See, you just need something to work towards. It's As simple as it sounds, yeah.
People are starting to favor Christianity over secularism is because Christianity offers objective goodness, truth, and beauty. Modern secular
Again, how is it called? Joseph or something like that. Jesus says that killing is wrong. It's in one of your commands, isn't it? Yet God, I don't remember how he's called. I won't look it up. Fuck it, because I think you know what I mean. There was a guy that went to war, pleaded with God, "Hey, can you please help me here? I'm going to war. I'm gonna come back alive, and after I come back, I'm gonna give you or sacrifice you or give you the first thing I see coming through the door." He came through the door, and it was his daughter. Yeah, guess what happened? Suddenly, if it's for God, it's okay. Or Noah's Ark. Yeah. Killing isn't okay. Except you're a sinner. Except you don't believe in leftism. Except you don't believe in feminism. The exact same thing. Christianity isn't a fully representation of goodness, truth, and beauty. It's the belief in a God. And if the God says you can massacre people, burn witches, then it's okay.
society says those things are just subjective opinions, which inevitably leads to degeneracy, lies, and ugliness in modern society. Traditional Christian philosophy calls goodness, truth, and beauty the transcendentals because they're all objective, they're all connected to each other, and they're all rooted in God's nature, because goodness, truth, and beauty each reflect God in various ways.
No.
But modern
As I already explained it, fair enough. It still applies, the same applies as I said.
secular philosophy questions the existence of God, so goodness, truth, and beauty become nothing but human opinions. That's why they say things like, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, or live your truth. Those are actually secular modernist sayings. Since objective goodness, truth, and beauty...
No, brother. Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. This is a very old saying. This was way before this entire degeneration of our, of our entire society happened. Live your truth. Yes, this actually is new. I agree with him on that one.
Don't exist according to secularism. Any claims to objective...
Wait, why didn't you say goodness? Don't you have anything for goodness? I mean, goodness is, in my opinion, no, it's still... I mean, he is correct to a certain degree, but it's just... It's not entirely true, but it's true. Because no matter what you do, if you're religious, then for you the objective truth is what your God says. And that's always the thing. That's always the point. As soon as your God says, no, this is okay, it's done. So... it's objective no matter what you say.
Goodness, truth, or beauty by the church, for example, are seen as tools of oppression that need to be deconstructed. Take goodness, for example. According to Christianity, morals come from God, and therefore there's a clear line between good and evil. So the so-called traditional family structure is not just based on tradition, but it's actually prescribed by God because it's necessary.
Yes, you're good if you follow God's word. That's then... no matter if he wants you to slaughter 1,000 people or not, that's irrelevant. As soon as you follow the word of God, it's fine.
For human flourishing. Secularism looks at that same family structure and calls it oppressive because it's just based on arbitrary restrictions of people's rights.
And still, it's not even secularism. It's fucking leftism. It's fucking feminism, man. I would agree with you if you were correct here. Because at the end, I don't give a fuck as long as it's true. But those are ideas that came out of leftism and feminism. What the fuck are you talking about? Why are you... I know why he's assigning secularism to this, because people with secularism go in and just don't believe in his deity. That's why it's a danger for him. But for fuck's sake, my acolytes can actually... You don't even know how many fucking passive-aggressive religious people I have to ban just because they are assholes all the time and preach. The rule that I have here is don't insult, don't be passive. If you're passive-aggressive, if you're aggressive in any kind of way, you fly. And people who were openly Christian or religious, by now, until now, were fucking idiots. Yes, they were the exact same thing as feminists or leftists. So don't give me that bullshit. It's just so fucking disgusting how this starts.
So they do everything they can to deconstruct
propaganda.
it. They encourage women to be childless workers into their 40s. They encourage young women to party and sleep around and never settle down. They promote no-fault divorce, which breaks up families. They promote the LGBTQ movement, which breaks down the barriers between genders. And they promote abortion. Previous generations saw the absence of restrictions as freedom, but more and more young...
This no-fault divorce, this was beforehand. This was, yes, in your times. This came from Christianity. So yeah, good Appens actually lying about that one. For fuck's sake.
People are starting to realize how empty that life is.
Yes,
and are
and by the way, I even agree with this. Having a family or something to take care of is fulfilling. But don't go lie after lie after lie. And the thing is, this divorce thing, it wasn't even super bad at this time because people had actually some morals and didn't abuse the system to a very high degree. Right now, they are just abusing the system that the Christian fucking thing, as you told it, I wouldn't say it's specifically Christian. I would just say that it's human beings that try to make everything good and just fucked up. But no, okay, let's just go with your Christian thing. That this was the Christian society. Yeah, your Christian society actually made this. Don't forget your past. Because it's part of you. Learn from it.
Desiring a traditional family. Now let's talk about truth. Christians believe that truth comes from God, revealed in the Bible, but once we understand that, we can also study science, because science is the study of God's creation. Christian ideas laid the groundwork for modern science because they believed the world was created by an intelligent God. It's
what the fuck are you talking about here? Christianity doesn't give a fuck about science as long as it doesn't disprove God. And there are a few things that actually disprove the interaction with God, and this just doesn't fly with Christianity. Do I have to remind you of the globus, how it came to be? The earth is flat, because God said so. No, it's round. Well, executed. Thank you.
It's why Christians started the modern university system. Most of the Ivy League schools were started by Bible-believing Calvinists. So Christianity has never been opposed to science. What's secular...
For fuck's sake, of course, if you have a country that's the fucking 90... How much is it? I don't remember the exact thing. Over 90% of people that believe in a certain thing, of course it gets... Of course people that actually believed in this religion made them. Because you have to remember one thing, those colleges that were done, at that point, if you didn't believe in God, you probably got burnt on the fucking stake or excluded from your social circle. Bad times.
Secularism tried to do was take the science without the Christianity and build a worldview based on the physical, ignoring the metaphysical. But they realized that they had no objective reason to believe anything that they believed, and now secularism can't answer basic scientific questions like what is a woman.
And again, this isn't secularism exclusive. This is feminism, leftism. For fuck's sake, again, technically by definition I am secular. And I can answer what a woman is. She doesn't have a dick and tits. No, she doesn't have a dick but tits. And can reproduce, basically. What the fuck?
Young people are starting to see how ridiculous this is and turning to traditional Christianity for answers about the world. Many traditional forms of Christianity, like Presbyterian, Lutheran, Catholic, and Orthodox, have detailed theological systems that answer all the questions modern society ignores.
Yeah, and this is the next thing that I actually despise. You have. By the way, Catholicism, yeah. Thank you for pointing this out. I actually wanted to one of my. Not niece, the male version of it. Fuck me. You know what I mean. I actually had to be a pattern uncle. You know what? Catholics declined me because I'm an unbeliever. Fuck them for that. Just because I'm an unbeliever, they just said I cannot even be present near the little guy. Excluded me. Just because of the tradition that they are talking about. Yeah, thank you. Fucking toxic upbringing here.
Now, beauty is something that even many modern Christians misunderstand. Traditional Christianity believes beauty is objective and it points us to God. Traditionally, churches were designed to look like colonies of heaven here on earth. And the traditional Western church architecture style, the Gothic style, is meant to be upward pointing because it shows the tension between heaven and earth. Traditional architecture reflects the beauty of nature because Christians believe God designed the beauty of nature to glorify himself. Traditional art was about living up to beauty standards, but modern art is about challenging them. People will walk in a modern art gallery and think, I'm supposed to enjoy this? Well, no, you're not, because that's not the purpose of modern art. The purpose of modern art is just to rebel against beauty. It's the same in music. Many of the best traditional classical composers like Bach and Handel were devout Christians who believed they were glorifying God through...
What the fuck are... You say devout Christians and you're even having Catholic here. No, Christian Catholics are two different things. Shadow Master, you absolute effing... machine, acolyte, I'm gonna fucking rip your ear off and put it on your butt cheeks. Honestly. Oh no, this is... so many... If I could make this video in German, I would be so much more eloquent. I would find way more words for this. But here, yeah, okay, I'm here. Devout Catholic. How is this a Christian? Or are Catholics Christians suddenly? Protestant, I know that...
their music. Beethoven was the first to try and use music as a form of self-expression by challenging traditional musical norms. And although he was a great composer, everyone else tried to copy him and push the boundaries of music more and more until it sounded like a cat walking on a piano. So goodness...
Yeah, but Beethoven was a legend. The rest were shit. What's the point there? He did something good, and somebody else made something bad. Well, la-ti-da. Who would have thought that this happens? Honestly, this is...
Truth and beauty are pushing young people towards Christianity, specifically traditional Christianity. There aren't exactly a bunch of young people flocking to non-denominational evangelicalism because it doesn't have beauty, because it's not meant to be historically rooted. And even though it does have some truth, it doesn't have the most deep and intellectual truth because, once again, it's not really rooted in the intellectual traditions of the church. Previous generations of the church actually gave into modernism by making worship more contemporary to try and attract young people, but these days young people desire tradition more than ever across all denominations. Aesthetics have been especially powerful in converting young men to Christianity. Video games trained young men to appreciate the medieval crusader aesthetic because they associated it with adventure, which is something all young men desire. And up until recently, the only way for young men to get adventure in the modern world was video games, but
They just look cool.
Now many of them feel like they have an opportunity to crusade for the old Christian society that was taken from them. The reason it's been taken from them is every society is built on a particular religion, and American society is built on mainline Protestantism. So ever since that got hijacked by liberalism, so did society. Many people have responded by leaving these churches, but a couple years ago I started a movement called Operation Reconquista to retake these churches. And since then, thousands of people have joined the movement, many of whom are pastors. Young men.
Why didn't you start with this? Why did you have to argue that everything is the fault of unbelievers when you just went in and fucking proved everything fucking wrong what you just said? It's not purely the fault of secularists, it's also the fault of churches because they got infected with this. And I'm not saying it's only the fault of churches, I'm saying it's a both-sided thing because there are human beings in there and human beings are sometimes fucked up. And I am not saying to actually point fingers at something like you do, but to fucking fix this thing. Oh, for fuck's sake, showing good faith with this would have gone so much further.
And need a mission, and this could be it. If you want to get involved, we have a map, which will be linked in the description of this video, where you can find a church within these denominations that still holds to the essentials of Christianity, and can be a good base for building back up these denominations. We also have a Discord community, which will be linked in the description, for mainline Protestants who want to fellowship with each other, and encourage each other in rebuilding the church.
The thing is, I think this is a good thing, but the thing is, he's building his entire argumentation on lies and deception. How the fuck can I believe him? I just don't trust him to actually build the entire thing up in a good faith way. I just can't.
The reason I bring this up is because, as fun as it is posting about Christianity on the internet, we need to direct this energy towards building up the church in real life. And although Christianity is good for culture, we shouldn't be Christian because of that. It's good for culture because it's true. The real meaning of Christianity is not being a
What the... You know what? Prove it. Fuck it. I just can't anymore. This is just so much... Just... It's true? Okay, prove it. Because right now the proof is the exact same thing as leftism with... freaking every minority gets oppressed. And every white man is racist. Prove it. Simple as that. This
based Giga Chad who crusades for the culture on the internet. It's about recognizing that God came down from heaven and died for your sins so you could be forgiven and have eternal life. But you don't need to wait until you die to go to heaven. The kingdom of heaven begins here on earth, and you can participate in building it up in anticipation of when Christ shall return to restore all things.
I am just baffled. I'm gonna be honest. I expected this video to be actually halfway reasonable. And I expected like some half-truths or beliefs because this is normal. You're still in a religious group, of course there gonna be some things I disagree with. But straight up lies, deception, and comparison from things that just don't make fucking sense, or just show people that aren't believing in your thing as bad people just because they don't believe in it. Honestly, man, just fuck off. What the fuck? You're starting exactly the same way as the fucked up leftists are doing. Why? This will backfire on you. And you know what, at this point, if he already starts like this, he's going the same path. We actually have to stomp people like this out before they get, well, further into power, simply said. because he built this entire thing up, or this video at least, on misinformation and hate against a certain group or more groups. And this is just something that disgusts me. You already had this for a few decades right now with fucking the feminist and leftist movement. Stop it. Stop it. We are all human beings. Let us all freaking work together. Don't point fingers on everyone around you. Because yes, if you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. But that's not always the solution. As it is, acolytes, good night.